It was a sunny and hot day here in Ashburn for the Washington Commanders' final mini camp practice. The team now will break until the end of July when they come back for training camp. So today was another spirited mini camp practice where the offense at times got the better of the defense, and then at times the defense made some plays. But I think there's several things that we learned over the last 3 days about this Commanders team that's going to go into the season for the 2025 campaign with high expectations, Super Bowl aspirations to be exact. Head coach Dan Quinn spoke with us, and I talked to him as far as what is he seeing from some of the free agents that they went out and signed, the Leremy Tunsils, the Deebo Samuels in particular, who's having a really good camp so far. So I asked him, what does he see from them and how they're coming to work, considering he coached against some of these guys and prepared for some of them. You've prepared against some of the guys that you have now as free agents, Leremy and Deebo and, some of the other guys, Javon. But now that you've seen them up close, on your team, have you been impressed with anything that they do when they come to work every day?
Yeah, a number of them, honestly. Deebo, I think, has been very impressive to me for maybe a different reason than I thought. He was such a difficult person to tackle that you spend so much time, how are you going to tackle this person? And somewhere along the way, I've forgotten until out here, like how fast he is. Yeah. And so sometimes when you're playing against a receiver, you say, man, you better either get him at the line or you better be on top of him. With him, so many times there were so many, run after catch plays that we had a tackling plan and how would you go about it? And then I can remember one time, like he just ran by somebody down the field on a deep ball. And I was like, yeah, I forgot about that. So that it didn't surprise me, but it was like maybe I missed talking about it to that space because it was easily reminded like he's one of the fastest players on the team.
Okay. Another thing that we learned about this football team is that it is much faster than it's been in years. I think over the past 3 days, you've seen, guys make plays. You've seen some of the young guys, some of the guys that they just drafted. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, the running back from Arizona, the 7th-round draft pick, had a couple of big runs over the past 3 days. So he's showing that he can be an added value to the offense. In a spread situation, you're not going to know who's going to get the football, and to have a home run threat, a one-cut type of running back that can take things to the house instantly will only make this offense more lethal. Another thing that you notice is that the physicality of the team is different. When Dan Quinn was hired 2 seasons ago, he made no bones about it that he wanted this team to be physical. He wanted them to wear on teams. He wanted them to be a team that was, you knew at the end of the game that you were in a battle with his team. And I think there's no coincidence that when you look across the board now at every position group, this team's much more physical. They're larger, they're in shape, and you can tell that it is a theme here in Washington for this football team to be one of the more imposing teams in the NFL. Another thing that you notice when you watch this team as well is the camaraderie is still there. If you thought last year's group was just going through, just 1 year where they all had to prove to themselves that they could play and be good players, no. Some of the veterans on this team have really stepped up, and they're actually coaching players on the field. They're helping some of the young guys. Today we spoke with Leremy Tunsil, and I literally popped in on the conversation and said to him that Josh Connerly Jr. literally told me that Leremy Tunsil's a guy that he studied, as a college player, and obviously Leremy lit up about that, but he said that Josh Connerly is going to be a good...
who I'm really impressed with, though? JC. JC is going to be a dog, and I'm not just saying that just to blow smoke up his ass. My sorry, but JC's going to be a dog. Can't wait to see it.
Why do you say that?
Just the way he's moved, the way he's been, athletic, smart, very intelligent. I think he got all the tools to be a damn good player in this league.
He told us that you were one of the players that he studied. So
hey,
what does that make you feel like hearing something like that?
Hey, I ain't too old. He's still but no, that's dope. That's dope. One of the players that he studied. If he had any questions, I always tell him that. If you got any questions, anything you need, you holler at me and pick it up.
Another thing that is really standing out here that we've learned is that the running back room is extremely deep. There's so many backs on this team that are NFL caliber backs that I think there's going to be some surprises as far as the final roster. Matter of fact, I'm saying it today. I'm saying it 5 weeks before training camp even starts, that from what I see right now, there's going to be 2 rookies that make up the 4 running backs on this roster. I think Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler are the mainstays, And I think Demetrius Felton and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt are going to be the other two running backs because they provide something this team hasn't had in a long time. It's sheer speed, cutting ability, athleticism. It's something they just haven't had. And I think those two young guys are hungry. They've shown over these 3 days that they're capable of making big plays and popping off big runs. The other thing they can do is catch the ball out the backfield too. So I think you're going to see a surprise in the running back room this year with those two guys making the final roster. Yeah, I said it, and I'm sticking to it. I think that's going to be the two surprises of this training camp in 5 weeks when we come back here in Ashburn. So as you can tell, this is a football team that we feel like watching them as media, that they're a much different football team. They look better than they were last year. You know about the magical season that the team had last year, but this year, you really do get the inkling that they know that they're good. They know that they're capable. But as Coach Dan Quinn said himself, you've got to go out and you've got to prove it on the field. So when we come back in about, 5 weeks or so for training camp, it's going to be interesting this year. It's going to be something that I think a lot of fans are excited about because you haven't had this in over 35, 40 years, a legit Super Bowl contending team. Last year kind of caught a lot of people off guard, but this year isn't going to sneak up on anyone. This is a football team that people are expecting great things from in the DMV area. So when we come back from training camp, we'll have a lot more for you, daily updates. In the meantime, you can check me out. You can follow my podcast, The Lake Lewis Jr. Show. It's on YouTube. It's on all the major podcast carriers. And if you live in the DMV on Tuesdays, you can hear it on WOL, which is 95.9 FM and 1450 AM. And that's at 11 o'clock AM. So you can check out the show there. It's still going to be daily Commanders updates from what I'm knowing going on here at the facility, what's going on with players as they get ready to come back and kind of retool, get their minds and bodies right before training camp. And then, of course, you can check out some of my work, my NFL work on heavy.com. And I can't wait to tell a lot of you out there, some of my longtime supporters, the big news is going to be coming up real soon. So we've got a lot of stuff that'll be coming up all over the NFL and especially from here in Ashburn. So signing out here at Commanders Park, I'm Lake Lewis.